And now we are live. And look, someone is already watching. It's probably me. Oh, you know what? It's us.
Up there.
That's probably what it was.
It's up there, yeah.
I thought you were ready.
I am ready. I'm waiting for the thing to play.
It is.
That ain't live.
No, it's look. We're looking at it right here.
Oh, ain't supposed to play live on
Yeah, but you are. But you were supposed to start your show. More importantly.
Give me a minute. I want to see if this is gonna play the way it's supposed to.
What? No, come out.
God damn it.
Why don't you intro the show and then I'll fix that?
Because you don't know what you're doing with the remote.
I do. Go ahead.
All right.
Get the show going.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's another episode of the Maserati Show. I am here with my special guest, BLK Pepper Potts. She'll throw her name up at the bottom. And we have another special guest with us today.
Hi, guys. My name is Chris Thomas. I'm a local filmmaker here in Northeast Ohio, and I'm a close friend of BLK Pepper Potts.
Hey.
Thanks for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
So I'm going to definitely just jump right into, we met the 48 last year that we had with John T. Sweeney, which was... I want to say it was amazing, but unfortunately he passed. Has it been 2 months now?
He passed in February.
Yeah.
So it's been 2 months.
Yeah, so it's been 2 months. But yeah, we met on that set, and I'm like, oh my God, this guy is awesome. So I kept up with you. I kept up with other people though, who I've seen since then. I've seen Holly since then. I call her E because I never can say her name correctly.
Oh, the girl who was the PA, and she's getting into directing now.
Yeah,
I don't know how to pronounce.
She has a movie.
She's directing now. I don't know how to pronounce her name either, but yeah, she was like
right. I just call her E, and I told her, I'm like, I'll just call you E.
Yeah.
If anyone doesn't know, the 48 is a film project in Cleveland. You have 48 hours to write, produce, film, and submit within that time. So yes, that is how we met.
That was madness too.
I know.
I had to direct. I edited that too, so I co-directed.
I did know that. I did know that. Yeah.
I got very little sleep that 48 hours because I co-directed the short film, and I had to go home and edit it. So I had to edit together a rough cut for the sound guy, send it to him. I got a few hours of sleep. Then I had to get up, go to the sound guy's house, and see did you? Because I had to transfer to him on a hard drive or thumb drive. And I hadn't even read the script until a few hours before we started.
Because they had to write it though.
They wrote it the night. They wrote it the night before, but I didn't get a copy until I don't remember, but it was the hour before, whatever. And Sweeney, he didn't even read it at all. You didn't know this, but he never read the script.
Did I look surprised?
No, it was just that set was big too. There were so many people.
It was dope to see the process of that.
It was, yeah.
For me, because I'm so new to,
I know
all of it. I'm like,
yeah. And I had never directed a 48 before.
Okay.
So it was I'd been a PA. I did the year before that or 2 years before that, whatever it was. I was a PA or an assistant or a sound person on his 48 from I want to say 2019 Crooked. It was called Crooked River Feast, and I think that was the first 48 I did.
So is that how you two met? Because I could tell you knew each other.
No. Okay. We met Sweeney. I met him. We were staffers together at the Cleveland International Film Festival back in 2019 and maybe 2018. So yeah, we worked at this. They don't have it anymore. At least I don't think they have it anymore because the festival literally just concluded. It just happened. The festival just ended because it started at the beginning of this month, and then I think it just concluded. So we worked at this exhibit. This is back when they had it at Tower City Cinemas. And this turned out to be the last year they had it at Tower City Cinemas. It was 2019. We worked at this exhibit called Perspectives. And that was the virtual reality and augmented reality exhibit at the festival.
And what year was this?
This was 2019. So we worked at Tower City Cinemas, because the movie theater is shut down now too. But there was the movie theater, which had the main festival and had all the movies. And then there was this empty storefront, this empty retail store inside Tower City's mall that they converted into the Perspectives room. And basically what it was you could watch virtual reality, short films, and interactive media So we had a little computer station that had little interactive media, like you could watch short films, like kind of a choose your own adventure type stuff.
I think I was in something like that, and they had like a space station one too.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, they had games. They had a few games in there too.
But it was around that time. Yeah. But it wasn't you though, because I was about to say it wasn't. But no, that was a different year than what you were talking about.
And then, well, I did work there. I want to say 2 years because I was a volunteer, 2017. And then 2018 and 2019, I worked there in Perspective as a staffer, full time. But yeah, and then they had like those little stations where you can rent a headset, and then we give you a headset. You go to a little chair, and then you put on the headset, and we show you how to use the headset, and you can like watch a short film or whatever. But it was free, yeah. So it was free and open to the public. So we had festival goers come in, and we had regular people off the streets, like people roaming Tower City. Coming in because anybody could come in, anybody could watch and participate. And Sweeney, not being technologically savvy, Sweeney was kind of older, whereas we were kind of younger. So we were the ones who actually worked at the stations, the VR set. So we rented out or we handed out the headsets to people and all that stuff. Sweeney worked the front door. So he was the one who kind of wrangled people in literally the entire time, the entire duration of the festival. Because we were assigned different jobs. So like say, okay, Chris, you work the VR station today. Now you go over here tomorrow and you work the interactive station for this thing. But Sweeney, not being technologically savvy, he worked the front door and then he directed people in. He attracted people in his own kind of salesmanship way. But yeah, and then we had, kind of before work, during lunches and breaks and stuff, we talked and we exchanged numbers and he told me how, because Sweeney had Hollywood experience. He worked on, he was a producer on, I want to say Blade 2, I think, and League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. He was on the
Triple X one.
Triple X, yeah. So, yeah, he had he had Hollywood experience and he knew quite a few people. And then he kind of said, you want to work on this short film with me and that sort of thing. So, yeah, we worked on quite a few projects together. There were some projects that didn't get made or projects that were never completed because of his passing. So there was, we did one in the arcade down on Euclid, the big arcade thing, not the 5th Street arcade, but like the big one. Yeah. We did like a Great Gatsby type of thing. So it was a couple of actors. And
was Luther in that? Because I was
he was the butler in that.
You want to know how I put that together?
How?
So you really got to pay attention to what people be doing.
Yeah.
Alex, he would post pictures with Luther.
Yes.
And I didn't know what they were. And because you said it wasn't completed. And I remember around that time that Sweeney was sick also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Alex was there
so
and he took pictures.
Yeah. Was that a oops or?
Yeah. I mean, because here's the thing. I have to find it because I have the last 2 short films that we completed. The 48 was the absolute last thing he did. He and I co-directed it. And then I have to find Gatsby somewhere because Gatsby might still be on my computer because I edited his last few projects. And I think maybe Gatsby is somewhere because that's not completed. We still have to get like the 2 lead actresses who were in that. We needed to get, actually all the actors, we needed to get I think ADR. We need to get them saying their lines because the dialogue, the audio in the audio in the arcade wasn't good. So
I would say I would love to help you with that, but I don't know how much.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but that was
what we just witnessed, and it was crazy while you were talking.
Yeah.
Did you see that happen? I muted the audio. It is somehow, some way.
Okay.
Blew the Yeti microphone.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. But
so is it picking
up? It definitely is. Yeah, it's working.
Okay.
I saw it pop up while you were. And I'm just like, wow, whatever.
Let's hope it stays that way. Yeah.
But it's you have worked with him that people would want to see. It depends on how you think he would feel about it. I guess.
Yeah, it's because he mentioned the last conversation we had before he passed away. We were on the phone and we were talking about. I was asking for him for advice on how to produce and what how do you attract money and all this other stuff. And he gave me some advice. And then he mentioned that he wanted to get like the old gang, because the people who the cast and crew of the Gatsby project and the other things, like he kind of had like this circle of people that he liked working with. Luther was in that circle. Brian Bowers was in that circle.
Tell.
Yeah. And, I was in there, and he mentioned that he wanted all of us to get back together and do, one last project. Or no, because he was in the hospital at this time. And this was like January. Okay. So he talked about how he wanted everybody to he wanted to get us all together when he got better again. He was like, that's how we ended the phone conversation. It's like, I want to get everyone together again so we can do another project again. And, me not knowing how bad his condition was, I fully expected him to recover. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. Just let me know and let me know when. And then I'm not on Facebook is the thing. So when somebody else, Louis Neil Schneider, the lead actor in our 48,
I know
he
that.
was the one who
Him
actually...
and Tim.
Tim Hale, they lived together.
We got to talk about what I want to do with that for the show, but we'll discuss that off.
Louis Neil Schneider, because I'm not on Facebook, and apparently Brian Bowers was the one who was talking about his ailing health on Facebook. You probably saw that.
But when I saw him last, I could tell he was...
I didn't know. So I was at work, and Louis was the one who texted me and broke the news to me. Sweeney passed away, and I was stunned because I was just like,
oh, so you skipped straight.
I didn't know because I'm not on Facebook. Wow. I didn't hear any news because Brian was talking about his ailing health, and then Brian was the one who broke the news on Facebook, and I was the one who was just like, where did this come from? Because I didn't know how bad he had gotten. But
you skipped straight to the I just talked to you.
Right. Because I talked to him a month before he passed. But it was, obviously it was a pleasure working with him. He cracked me up a lot. And, I learned a lot from him.
He has a very... You gotta get to know him kind of sense of humor.
Yeah, because he's one of those. Definitely
have to say that part.
Yeah, he's one of those type of people where it's just like if you don't know him, you'd be like, oh. But if you were his friend, you'd be like, oh, you're just being silly. And luckily for me,
I got that right away. Yeah, because I was in a room with him and Bill Franklin. Yeah, and you know how Bill is with his laugh.
Bill's laugh is distinct. Yeah, he has a distinct laugh.
Yeah, so it was just like a comfortable enough setting that, I've met with him a couple times outside of the 48 project, and just had a conversation with him, just like how you were saying you guys had talked on the phone. Yeah, and it's nice to talk to someone with so much experience that is willing to just have a conversation with you
and not expect anything in return. Not expect,
but it's the point. The point of it, just a conversation, not even a Q&A, an actual freaking conversation. So it was. I was like, yo, at least I got to know you.
It was great. I mean, I think my thing with that project, with the 40 in particular, and another project that I did, want to say how many? Because the 48 was 2020. Yeah, it was 2020. It was recent.
No, it was last year.
Yeah, it was. Oh, it was 2021.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It was 2020.
Got the brain all foggy.
That's because
we never would have been able. They probably canceled 48 in 2020.
They probably did. Yeah. But something I learned with that project and a project I did a few months before that's just like, I think, and this isn't a slight to Sweeney. It's something that I've noticed with really a lot of filmmakers out here in the Northeast Ohio area. It's just like I kind of had to step back from the whole idea of having a big cast and a big crew because that 48 was massive. I've never done a project.
That's a lot to you.
I'm in this space now where it's like so.
So wait, there was to me, if I remember, maybe 20 people.
Yeah, it was pretty big.
Cast and crew.
It was pretty big.
That's not big to me.
Well, within the space that we're in right now, where it's just like, because we're in the same boat. We're here, but we're trying to get here.
Right.
And I think that I'm moving more towards, and some of my friends as well, who I also make films with, we're trying to move toward a space that is more efficient in terms of people on set. So I think that my problem with big cast and big crew is just it's there's this issue of people's time. I think people value their time and what they do with their time and how they spend their time, whether it's work, volunteering, blah, blah, blah. Like, I feel like that's important to them. So like, I did a short film a few months before the 48. It was a psychological thriller short called Exit Interview. And the cast and crew for that short, and I recently told this to one of my friends who helped me make that short film. It was just too big. People were chilling. People were doing. It was only 2 actors in the short, and there was a relatively large crew. So like, there was me, the director, the 2 actors. There was a camera person, and there were 2 cameras, but I operated one camera. He operated another, and then there was a sound person, and then there were all these other people in the crew members who did not need to be there, because all they did was sit around, because we shot this at somebody's house. And it was a waste of their time, and it was just too gratuitous. Like, what are these people doing here? I had a script supervisor, which I didn't need for this project. I had a PA, which, admittedly that could be helpful because she did run and get breakfast and snacks and things and lunch and things like that. But there were all these other people, and it was just like, Alex was there. He took pictures, and there were other people. It was just like, don't get me wrong. I like spending time with people, especially on set. But like, I don't think that there's a need, at least at this point in my career, or at this stage in my career where I'm at right now. I don't think I need to have like, I have to have as many people as possible come in. Because when we did our episode of my web series that you were in, it was just me and you in the car, and then we had my friend Joe run sound, and then me and Joe switched camera and sound. Yeah, so it's just like, I'm kind of at a space now where I'm minimizing in terms of like, don't get me wrong, my ambition is to become, a lot bigger.
Right.
But I'm at a space now where it's just like, you gotta make it however you can make it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because filmmakers are too precious with their ideas and their projects, and I feel like that's part of the reason why they feel like they need a big cast and crew. Whereas I'm at the point where it's just like, I'm gonna learn as I go, and I'm gonna shoot on the fly, because I want to do more guerrilla style stuff, because I feel like that's trial and error is so important, at least to me in filmmaking, because I didn't go to school for this.
Yeah.
So I learned.
I didn't go to school for anything anybody has seen me do.
Right. Exactly.
And I'm doing anything, setting up this.
Exactly. And I think in some way, like, I feel like film school would have, I wouldn't say it would have ruined me, but it would have turned me, because I did briefly attend film school for like 1 year. My second year of college, I went to a proper film school, and I felt like film school would have turned me into, I wouldn't have developed the sort of avant-garde experimental style of filmmaking that I'm doing right now if I had gone to film school. Like, I wouldn't have learned to do things on my own and say, like, let's just do it however we can, or let's just make it however we want to make it. Let's make up our own rules. Because the way I shot your episode, there's a few funky shots in there. They're like, oh, this is going to look crazy. It's going to look so. But I'm in a space now where I like the experimental stuff, because I grew up, on Hollywood, and I do like Hollywood. I don't particularly like art films per se, but I am kind of veering away from my deep love and obsession with Hollywood filmmaking, because I'm starting to notice things now, particularly
that you didn't really notice as a kid.
Exactly.
The things that made you fall in love with the things that you fell in love with, now you're looking at it like,
you're getting older, especially with contemporary cinema, like Hollywood cinema, where it's at today, where it's just like, personally, it's not where I feel like it could be. I'm watching a lot of older movies now, like a lot of older movies.
I mean, I never stopped watching older stuff. I'm
Yeah.
more of an older, like I was recently watching Bewitched.
Yeah.
And I Love Lucy. Now the older films, I used to really watch a lot of like the Turner movie classic.
Turner classic movies? Yeah.
I used to, like, even the Three Stooges used to come on there. But I like old school stuff. But I also still like the stuff that's the Marvel thing they got going.
Yeah.
I'm in love.
Well, obviously.
He's crazy. He's crazy about it. I know. I'm trying to.
You like Marvel too? Yep, it's all right. What's your favorite Marvel movie?
Because we've been over here just yapping because we just yap. I'm like, wait.
I know what mine
is. I have one. I'm more into the series that they have now.
The TV shows?
The TV shows that they got you hooked on their freaking streaming service.
Luke Cage is crazy. Luke Cage is crazy.
For me, while you're thinking about it.
What's your favorite?
Probably the new Spider-Man movie.
WandaVision. The new Spider.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I haven't seen that yet, but I'm trying to. I'm trying to see that at some point. No,
I can't see certain things like the Marvel stuff. I need to see right away because I don't want anybody to spoil it.
I saw the. I still want it because I saw the first Spider-Man movie when it opened back in 2002. And that's what got me hooked on superhero movies. That was different though. Now it was the first. That was the first. Marvel. Yeah, but that was really the first movie that really kind of ushered in this current era of like superhero movies that we're seeing. So like, I mean, there was Tim Burton's Batman from 1989. That was a big success. It was. We had Superman in the 70s.
You have to give the credit to Blade.
Blade was true. That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Wesley Snipes did his thing.
That's why I'm like, no.
That's a good one. Yeah, but yeah. So like, for nostalgia purposes, though, I do. I do. Yeah, it's and in terms of commercial, because I think it made like over 800 million. And whenever something makes a lot of money in Hollywood, other studios are like, oh, let's do it. Because right after that, they did Incredible Hulk.
What was it for you?
No, you good.
What was it for you? What movie brought you into the
shit? Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, that makes sense. Did you name your favorite?
He named it. He said the new Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, that's how we started the whole conversation. Good.
I like Winter Soldier. Out of all of them, Winter Soldier was amazing.
I hate Captain
America. I loved that one. That was the first, because like most of the Marvel movies, and I'm not saying this to diss Marvel, a lot of them are pretty lighthearted comedies, and those are good, and I like most of them because they are very funny. But like, there's this very much lighthearted comedy feel. Particularly with all the movies that came before Winter Soldier. You think about the first Avengers movie, the 2 Iron Man movies, the Thor movies. Yeah. But then you get to the Winter Soldier, and like immediately that was the one that like caused a total shift. Because Winter Soldier is not a funny movie. It's not very funny at all. Like, I mean, there's funny parts in there, but for the most part, it's an intense like thriller. Like, it's an intense thriller.
I didn't watch that one enough to say.
You gotta, like, you watch it.
I don't like him.
When you watch it, because like, especially like compared to the movies that came before that, it was just like, oh, okay, so Marvel can, take risks here and there.
Yeah, they can take a different look at what they're doing. Clearly, they already had plans for the risk that they were going to take.
Yeah,
that's stuff we haven't seen type risk. That's why I'm more on the show side, is because I'm like, yo, a lot of the stuff they're doing, I haven't seen.
I haven't seen what shows have I haven't really seen any of their shows.
There was like I said, the WandaVision. That was my favorite.
Yeah,
Loki.
Mm-hmm.
What was the Falcon one?
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Was it Falcon and Winter Soldier? That's the one I didn't watch. I didn't like that one, so I didn't watch that one. Okay. I really like the What If episodes. Actually, you know what? WandaVision kind of took a back seat to that once I saw the What If. I was like, oh my God. Because I don't know. I guess it's okay to spoil it now if you haven't seen it. Once they got to the Watcher part with him fighting, that they could have ended the season to me there. Yeah, because what they did after that was not as great. But that whole Watcher, and he was looking the whole time, and
Do you feel like because I haven't seen WandaVision. I will at some point. Okay. But with the movies though, do you feel like their romance was rushed? Because like, you think about it, Scarlet Witch.
You gotta see WandaVision.
Both characters.
Oh, you gotta see WandaVision. Okay. You gotta see.
Because I was gonna say in the movies they were both introduced in Age of Ultron. No. Then the following year they did Civil War, and then it's like Infinity War. Like, we're in a relationship. It felt rushed in the movies, but I haven't seen the series.
You see the series, it's totally different, and they took a spin on something that you're gonna absolutely love. I don't even want to tell you what they did, because I go into all of these things like knowing nothing. Yeah. So then when I see it, it's like, oh wow, look at this! Like, I get to be like a little freaking kid. Yeah. Some people want trailers and previews. I'm like, nah, save all that. But we did have some topics here on the list.
Let's get to it.
let's see. Where shall we start? I'm just going to click on one because I can't.
You didn't label them.
I didn't. You know what's even more crazy? Oh wait, they appear. No wonder I couldn't find them. All right, so let's. You know what, Miles? We're gonna start with yours right here. Let's do that. I think that's how that makes that go over there.
Winning time.
But I'm probably. You're gonna have to explain what this is because I have.
Was in the finals in college. Magic Johnson won. But Larry Bird was still a bigger draw because he was white. And people just kept telling him that. He was like, yeah, but the thing is, you better than him, but Larry Bird is white. And they just kept telling him that because, you know, they offered Larry Bird more money. They was just a bigger fan of Larry Bird just because he was white. And keep in mind, Larry Bird was the loser. He lost in the college championship. And they were still just all over Larry Bird. So, I mean, like, and like the people, like, they got Mike Epps playing Richard Pryor. Like,
they got Richard. They got Richard Pryor in there? Or not Richard Pryor, but like. Crazy.
I mean, they had everybody in there, like Iman, because Iman was married to somebody either on the Lakers or affiliated with the Lakers, and then later on she married David Bowie. So she's in there now as still being around the Lakers.
I like how they shot that. I've seen clips of that series on YouTube. I love how they shot it like it's like a 70s movie. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's just shot like a 70s type of exploitation type of movie. Like that caught me off guard because a lot of TV shows nowadays, you know, frankly, it feels like they're kind of shot the same, but I love how they took a different look at it. It's like, oh, this is the 70s, so we're going to make it like a 70s movie, and we're going to make the cinematography look like it, and we're going to put this grainy stuff on it to make it look like, I don't know if they shot on film or added something grainy stuff on film to make it look like they shot on film, but I want to check that out at some point because I'm not a Lakers fan, but I am a fan of like the fact that visually the show looks like it's different, and I do like, you know, how sports teams kind of came to be how they are because, you know, that was, you know, not being the biggest NBA fan, but that was kind of like the one that transformed the Lakers into, you know, what they are today. Like the big, how many championships aren't they tied with the Celtics for championships?
Don't ask that question.
Because I'm a sports fan too. What's that?
Yeah, they got a lot.
They got a lot. I don't know how many. I know somebody's.
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna spill it.
I know it's either the Celtics have more or the Lakers have more or they're tied. I know that those are the teams up there, and particularly, you know, with Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and their feud, I know that kind of, you know, fueled it. Oh, you looking it up now?
Yeah, I mean, hello, welcome to technology. How many world?
Who's 17? They got 17.
Yeah, they have 17, in history, and they're tied with the Boston.
I knew they were tied. I knew they were either tied.
Look, that was like right there. See?
Yeah, I knew they were tied or close to each other.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean HBO. You know they've.
You know what though? They just added with the LeBron being there. Oh, I'm sorry, with LeBron being there. If they had 17, that means they must have just tied with Boston.
Yeah, I think of it. Because remember, they just won.
Yeah,
like 20,
so I wonder how far the
LeBron?
gap. I guess the last gap probably would have been back when Kobe. So the gap probably wasn't that long ago.
2009. They won in 2009, I think.
Yeah,
Kobe.
so their little gap wasn't that long, and then so then they tied thanks to LeBron.
Yeah.
Shit,
but you gotta have.
I ain't even know.
But that's
I don't watch sports
to have yeah, but to shoot a show like that, like you gotta have like crazy because period pieces are like mad expensive. Like that's doing something in the 70s, and you got to make it look authentic. So like I don't know how much of like I don't know if they rebuilt Because what was the Lakers? What was the name of their stadium? Yeah, what was the name of their stadium they played in
Staples
back then?
now, but I don't.
Yeah, it's Staples now, but like, what was the name of that stadium they played in?
Let's find out.
Because you gotta have.
Anybody want to take a guess while I go pull this up?
I'm gonna say it was still the Staples.
I'm thinking it was too. Old Stadium. The Forum.
Oh, the Forum, that's right.
Oh, wow. That was up just until 99. Oh, I feel a little stupid for that.
I mean, admittedly, I thought they built Staples Center earlier than 99 too.
I definitely would have thought it was earlier. But you know what? That makes sense.
But yeah.
Because when that around the time when Kobe got, what year did Kobe get there? Because they'll revamp shit when they get a player like that. 90, yeah, but
he's late 90s.
When they go to like make him that player. So then they renamed and rebranded everything. Because they did the same thing with LeBron. They changed the colors.
Click on his
for the Cavs.
Or you can click draft. Yeah.
Yeah, they did the same thing with LeBron for the Cavs. They changed the colors to the wine and gold that 96. We have 96. So go ahead and make him the star around that time, and then in 99,
but
Staples Center.
Yeah, but like I give props to like me because I'm not the biggest fan of HBO. Like I give them.
Why not? Wait, why aren't you the biggest fan of HBO?
So HBO programming. So like obviously they're the show that made them what they are today and kind of really kickstarted and ignited their brand and catapulted them into being the big bad wolf is The Sopranos, which is what most people say is
really
one of the best shows ever. Blah blah blah.
I don't like it.
I binge watched all 6 seasons.
Me too.
And I was like, what is this?
What was the hype all about?
That's the thing. It's just like I feel
did
like.
You like The Sopranos, or have you seen it?
All right, I thought he was gonna say real sex, but
you know what?
Real sex. I've seen that too.
I would say going back to that era of the Oz era and the things they used to have on there was when HBO was the shit.
Yeah, and they
had The Wire on there eventually too.
The Wire, that's
for me
right.
It was
Wire
and
was,
around that time.
Wire was
The Wire.
Wire was 2002 to 2008.
Yeah, but like you, I binge watched The Sopranos, and someone was like, "Oh, you're just desensitized because this was like maybe 3 years ago."
There's
and
the
I'm
thing.
like, no,
I
saw Oz before I saw The Sopranos.
Yeah,
I'm not desensitized.
That's the thing. It's just like I think people kind of say that, Chris, just like playing devil's advocate because I wholly agree with you, but I feel like people when they say that, what they're really saying is just like the show broke so much ground or it influenced so many shows that it's just like. Now it's become when somebody watches it, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Have y'all not seen The Godfather?
Yeah. Like people are like, oh, well, that's because it influenced so many shows that like nowadays, when you look back, it doesn't look as crazy because people who argue in favor of The Sopranos are gonna be like, you had to have watched it back then to realize how groundbreaking revolutionary it was.
No.
Whereas I'm like, when it's really that, it's timeless. Like Citizen Kane
exactly.
To me, it's not one of my favorite films ever, but like Citizen Kane, I can still appreciate to this day because I'm still like, oh wow, this film is still crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like some people don't have that type of.
There's plenty of things. Like I just mentioned The Godfather.
Right, Godfather is still a crazy movie.
Right, it don't matter what.
It doesn't matter if it's
that shit gonna be dope. Scarface. It's gonna always.
If it's really that. It will stay that. It's not going to like get devalued because everyone's copying off of it.
For people to say, well, The Sopranos contribute to these shows being this and being that. Well, The Godfather came first. I would say The Godfather continued to Sopranos.
So like,
I think more than anything.
Yeah, else. I think that's the thing. It's just like when like movies and shows like build off of other things that have already existed. It's just like
it's hard to find a void now though, Chris. Like it's like so much creativity has taken place. Cause I was sitting here thinking like, yo, what hasn't happened yet?
The market
what hasn't someone created yet? It's coming.
The market is very saturated right now.
Yeah.
But here's the problem, and this is what I kind of like about Motherland, which is my project that you were in an episode on. It's just like TV is in a space now, and this is something that I've noticed where it's kind of become, for lack of a better term, it's become gentrified. Where I think a lot of the lower budget stuff, because everyone says TV and movies are like this now. Where back in the day, TV was down here and movies were up here. But my problem with that is movies have a different, they're in a different space. So like a lot of TV, most TV nowadays, especially, you know, with the big streams and all that, it's very expensive to produce. It's very expensive to make, and they're trying to push for high quality, blah, blah, blah. Whereas movies, so if you look at the history of cinema and you look at movements like the French New Wave and Italian neorealism, a lot of those guys who influenced cinema as a whole, they did low budget stuff. They did experimental stuff. I haven't seen that type of stuff happen in television, or the landscape of television now, where it's just like somebody does something crazy, low budget, and it's completely cheap. You know what I'm saying? Like television nowadays is just, it's so pricey, and it's just like, where's the lower stuff?
Because the technology is there.
Yeah.
So if you look, you can go back to like a Martin Scorsese film. Go back to like Taxi.
Yeah.
Like how much could it? So for them though, it was different. They had different ways of filming, and you couldn't do that much in editing. So it had to be this, and then whatever you did with the actor. But it was pretty much what you shot.
Yeah.
That was it. And you shot it in a way knowing probably what the music was going to be. So your frames per second was set up. So a lot of, when it comes to the technical side of that, I think a lot more of that gets skipped in the process of filming, because people now is like, well, I'll just go in and make it look what I wanted to make it look like.
I think
on this thing right here,
yeah,
we can just do that. But when you do that, though, it takes away a lot of the creativity that we probably would rather have over. Now, I say that at the same time, I still love Marvel. We just had a whole conversation about it. So both coexisting.
I think my thing is, I like the quote from Orson Welles. He had a quote one time where he said, the enemy of art is the absence of limitations. So when you're in a space where you can do literally anything and film anything, I think that actually harms you more than having to do, like where I'm at right now, which is like, I can't.
You already said you want less.
Right, I want less.
You want
and
less,
like I said, the big cast, the big crew and all that, like I feel like in a space where I'm at right now, I'm learning to kind of like doing things on having to like scramble around and say like, oh, I can't afford to do this, so I'm going to do it that way, or like having to work around my limitations. Where it's just like, if you have no limitations and no restrictions, and you have all the money in the world, and you can film whatever TV show or even movie you want, it's just like, I feel like that harms you, because then it harms the quality. Where it's just like, we were talking about this before we got on the show, where it's just like a lot of indie directors fall into this trap, where it's just like a lot of mainstream Hollywood directors today got their start doing indie stuff. And I feel like a lot of the indie stuff they did was far more creative and better, because it was just like they didn't have what they have now. Like they had to work around the same rules. They had to work around their limitations. But but then they got hired by the big studios to direct their tempo movies, and then their personal vision suffered.
But see, that's the thing though. When you have a goal, and their goal probably would, and I'm sure the majority of them as well, myself, is to do the indie things in order to do the bigger budget films. Now, you may get there and be like, oh fuck, why did I want this? And then some get there and it's exactly what the fuck they want. And then they'll still have some side projects they do. I've seen things even get nominated at the Oscars where actors even are in. And I'm like, wow, this is such a small project. I'm surprised you were even willing to do this.
I just don't want them to, nothing wrong with that, because obviously I want that too.
Yeah.
But like I want to do that without compromising who I am as an artist. I still want to have the ability to like say
just
certain
be
things.
Very picky of what you sign up for, especially if it's not of your own.
Right.
That's all you can do.
Did you have any other?
Yes, we did. We had like plenty more. Oh, I'm sorry. We got like way off.
Let's get
so
through
let's jump into this one here. Encanto.
Encanto.
I
Yeah.
hate it much. I'm not going to watch. I ran away from it because it's an animated musical cartoon thing, and I'm sick of them. Listen, I've been
It's
a
got the
parent.
number one song in the country.
I've been a parent.
We don't talk about Bruno.
I've been a parent a lot longer than you have. See, this movie right here, I've seen it. I've seen it, and I've seen it as a child. I've seen it with my children, and I'm done seeing them. And congratulations. But you know what? The children in my house, even one watched, and he hurried up and turned the TV off when I came in the room. He's only 8. He'll be 9 next month.
And you shamed him.
I didn't.
Not watching it.
See, here's the thing.
He's a baby that can't even enjoy
a
cartoon movie.
I didn't shame him.
Mom.
He just knows when you watch.
You gotta hurry up and change it. Put on Scarface. Here comes Mom. Put on Sopranos.
Yeah.
Hey, he knew. Yeah. That's all I got to say. He knew that he was gonna get laughed at for watching a cartoon musical. No, I'm not saying I would have shamed him, because there are some parents out there like that would have been like, no, it would have just been a joke.
So your enjoyment of animated musicals, particularly Disney animated musicals, has been harmed by the fact that you're now a parent and your kids.
I've just seen so many.
But that was the point that was my question, or that was the question that I was trying to ask. Just like the fact that as a parent now, you've watched so many of them that you're just sick of it. Like you're just my kids have seen. Because I heard there were parents who were annoyed by the first Frozen movie and Let It Go.
I didn't even watch that. That's about the time it started for me. Because see, that's why I said I've seen so many as a child myself.
Right. And
then now these kids, but like I said, mine's pretty much it. Now they do watch animated stuff. He's really into all the Marvel stuff. He loves all that shit. And I didn't get him watching that. He likes Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't even know he was watching that. So yeah, it's just I ain't watching it. But you watched it. You liked it. You watched it even without your kid, according to you.
Yeah, shit. About Bruno? No. About Bruno.
You have been dying to do that.
We don't talk about Bruno. And the fucked up thing was, it wasn't even Bruno's fault.
But don't give it away. Well, I guess you can.
It's the number one damn movie. Trust me. I
didn't even. It wasn't until the Will and Jada incident for me to even know about the movie.
So you didn't even know this movie?
I didn't even know. And the Bruno little meme went around with Will Smith's face on them for the little singing routine that you saw or was just doing about him slapping Chris
Rock. Yeah,
and that's how I found out about the movie.
Isn't that goddamn sorry?
Do you think you would enjoy the movie if you didn't have kids? If you were...
At this point, would I still be into animated cartoon musicals? Probably not.
Okay. All right.
I probably because the things that now up until the point of around Frozen, I probably would still be even into them without having kids. Okay. So yeah, I'd probably just be tired of it.
But I think that you would probably be into it because now it's a little more diverse. They got Hispanics and blacks.
And
it's
that's
not
great.
Before,
I'm glad it finally happened.
But that Pocahontas story was growing up, bullshit.
Exactly.
If they had went to the real Pocahontas story, it'd been
a
completely different story.
You know what's crazy?
I've heard about
the rape, pillage, kidnapping.
But those stories are different based upon where you live. So our Cinderella is a whole different, well, not a whole different version, but the version is different over in India somewhere. So they have their cultural references already. So they probably looking at us like we was crazy. We yo, can we get something before we got Princess and the Frog? Because they already had their own shit.
I think, yeah.
Ain't that sad? That's so sad.
I think it's, a lot of because I've seen documentaries on different animation studios and Disney, all that. It's just I feel like it's just if they're not, the companies themselves have just recently learned about diversity and all that. So it's just before they had mostly white people there, so that's why their characters. There was never any incentive for them before, where it's just like nowadays there's more of a push towards, hey, what about can we have a story like white? You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
they're hiring different nowadays, so it's just like the '90s when Disney had what they call the Disney Renaissance period, and they started making like that was 30 years ago. So it's just like now we're in a different space now in society, culturally, where it's just like there's more of a push for people want to see themselves on screen. So like Disney had to you know uh, 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 pivot towards telling those type of stories, which is important. I think cultural shifts in movies, even animated movies, it's important. But yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Encanto, but I've heard it's good. I'm gonna check it out at some point. But yeah.
All right,
What
so
you got
let's see
next?
what we got next. We have Power Force. What is that? 4.
Power Book 4. Is this 50 Cent's show?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
His spinoff show.
Oh, it's a spin-off
How many
show.
is it total?
How many spinoffs?
There's Raising Kanan. There's this. There's Ghost Book 2. So it's 3?
3.
Okay. Well,
Time
wait, it's right there in our face.
Son,
Book
Young
4.
Kanan.
So a total. I just sat up here and said Power Book 4. And we all like, I don't know.
How is this show? Because I haven't seen it, but it looks intense.
I mean, I like it because, I'm just intrigued by certain things, like how they're going to play out.
Yeah.
Especially when you got somebody that divides their company. Like, if we have a company selling drugs and then all of a sudden the two head people don't get along no more and they go say, all right, so we will split it down the middle. I'm always interested in that because a lot of times that was pretty much the end of some shows. Like, once Tommy and Ghost decided they was going to split up and they weren't cool no more, one of them niggas had to die.
Yeah.
The Wire, Avon Barksdale decided, you know what I'm saying? He was like, hey, listen, I'm trying to do my thing.
Yeah.
You still trying to be in the streets.
Yeah.
Once they decided to split up, nigga, somebody had to die.
Yeah.
They went after each other at the same time, though.
Huh?
They went after each other at the same time, though.
Yeah.
Shit.
On The Wire. Avon had set him up to get killed like he did. But Stringer just so happened to snitch on him. So was Stringer trying to put him in jail just for a minute again? Or was
he was trying to put him in jail for good.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah. Ironically, they both was like,
But
you know what, though? Stringer did that on his own. Avon only did that because he didn't really have a choice. Remember, the one dude from New York came to him and was like, yo, you gonna have to turn this dude over or we ain't help you. I watched it a lot. He was like, yo, you gonna have to turn your best friend for life over or we taking all that shit back that you was getting from New York and then your whole business is just gonna go.
Yeah,
he was like, well, look, Stringer Bell is that he snitched on him, but it wasn't like he was trying to have him just killed.
I mean, shit happens.
But yeah,
I always tell people like Power and The Wire is pretty much like the same shit.
Really?
One person was trying to go legit because Stringer Bell was trying to go legit. He was trying to do real estate and get into politics and shit, just like Ghost.
Yeah.
The other one is Tommy and Avon. They wanted to stay in the streets. They still wanted to keep all them soldiers. They still wanted to run drugs for the rest of that time. One of them niggas had to die.
But that's like
it's always a smart nigga that died.
But you know what? That's like the only similarity, though. The major thing about The Wire before, they was trying to like acquire still, though. They were trying to get more real estate. That's
that's
the only similarity.
That's the biggest similarity is two people. That's the two main characters.
That wasn't
the same
even
fucking
like
characters.
The main focus of The Wire.
To your point, though, I saw a British crime film recently, a crime drama film called Blue Story, and essentially what it was these two guys. They were like teenagers. They were in school together. They were friends. One of them had an older brother who was like the leader of one of the local gangs. This was in kind of a rough part. This was in London. It was a rough part of London. So the character who had the older brother, his older brother kind of influenced him in a negative way and eventually drew him into the gang, whereas the other character kind of veered towards the straight and narrow path. So they kind of, but the two guys, they were no longer friends because something happened. I don't want to spoil too much of the film. Even though I am. spoiling quite a bit of it.
I mean, it's over. It's London.
Yeah, it's London. It's a crime.
Never see it.
2019. Very, very intense film. So they go there. The two friends. Something bad happens, and they go their separate ways, and they basically start beefing. One friend joins his older brother, in their gang. The other friend tries to go the straight and narrow path, but then something happens that makes him join the rival gang, and then they basically butt heads, and like shit doesn't turn out well. But that made me, with your point about the two friends, going their separate ways. One that really kind of stuck with me, because it's just like that kind of is, at least with that movie, that very much kind of it kind of confirms your theory. It's almost like a cliche kind of in terms of intense like crime, or at least in some crime drama films, where it's just like you said, it's just like two characters, they're friends and all that, they go separate ways, and then somebody's got to die.
Do you watch a lot of like London gangster?
No, which is interesting, but like I'm interested in like different other countries and other cultures. I don't even know how I stumbled on Blue Story, but like
what
it's
is
like
it on?
it's I don't know what it's on. You got to look it up, but yeah, it's on one of them. It could be. It's probably on Netflix.
What's the name of it?
It's called Blue Story.
Now, have you ever watched Top Boy?
No, but I want to watch Top Boy. I've seen maybe like I've seen like a couple episodes. Yeah, that's it.
Netflix.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. I knew it was Netflix.
You know why you watched it? Because you watch shit like that, so that popped up for you.
But a lot of actors from Top Boy are in Blue Story. So if you've seen Top Boy, I want to see Top Boy though, because I'm interested in like different cultures, and like I love a good crime drama as well. But yeah, Blue Story is one of my favorite. It's like I think number 25 on my list of favorite movies ever. It's really good. It's certainly my favorite, most recent in terms of recent movies. It's my favorite recent movie. But it's really good. You should check it out.
I have a hard time taking them serious with the accent.
Is it because so this is actually why I've heard that like UK hip hop hasn't really blown up here in America for the same reason, because it's like people have a hard time getting over their accents and stuff. Because like I listen to those songs,
and that's the problem with that. Now, I can do the movies and
that's what I've heard online. Like people
but
are like,
when
I can't get over their accents.
That,
that's why I don't listen to UK.
Forget it.
Americans stole they shit already. They was drill music.
Oh,
drill music?
Drill music.
I thought drill music was Chicago.
No, drill music started in the UK.
Okay.
Is it grime over there? Is that what
it was called grime, and then started calling it drill.
Yeah.
That shit been going on for a long time.
Oh, so we stole that from them.
I think around that time,
I didn't know
they both happened. Because what you're saying, I've heard that before, but I thought they both kind of happened at like the same.
They did not.
So
that's kind of. I'm kind of with her. I assumed that.
I thought they did. I don't know, but I did know there
though.
were two different names.
That's crazy.
But if anyone asked, I would have thought grime music came first. Because that's why I said, wasn't it called? Because I think it was like initially called grime music.
Yeah, boy, what was his name? Dizzy something?
Oh, don't ask me that much. I did good for what I knew.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
And I only know that from like trying to get instrumentals and stuff. That's how I found out there was a difference. Yeah. I'm scared to click on anything else because it looks like that's all the titles of stuff that I got. Oh no. That's right. We have our throwback. Duh. Our TBT for the hold it down. Was Saved by the Bell, which I'm assuming everyone watched. Saved by the Bell.
I watched it.
I was just I noticed I didn't ask y'all beforehand because I'm like, everyone's seen Saved by the Bell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I had watched this series like from start to finish. Except I stopped with the season where Tori came on because it's still to this day is weird to me that they graduated and then they were just back in school. Like with new person, a couple more people came back. Lisa was still there. Screech was still there. AC, he was still there, and it was just weird. So I always just cut that shit off. But yeah, I grew up watching Saved by the Bell. That's how old I am.
You old as fuck. God damn.
Yeah, I am. Because this is not a rerun for me. Saved by the Bell was not a rerun.
You remember the episodes of the old Mr. Building.
So yeah, I was actually getting into that. Would you like to go ahead and talk about what season 1 was of?
Hell no.
Why? Because you older than me.
Because I don't remember all them hoes' names. I don't remember.
Miss Bliss was her name.
Was that her name?
Yeah, it was.
It was called. I think it was the show was called Good Morning Miss Bliss. I think it was.
I think that was the pilot.
The pilot, yeah.
I think that was
I knew
the pilot.
It was either the pilot first season, and then
first season was
and then
actually,
they reworked it into Saved by the Bell. Yeah, when they gave it
so
the series.
So why don't you tell us what the first season of Saved by the Bell is?
Shit, I don't know what the first season was about.
Oh,
I remember Miss Bliss and the old Mr. Building when that shit was whack. And then as soon as they got the new Mr. Building with the ball, shit, it was on and popping.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once they got Mr. Building, they had Mr. Building in some shit all the time.
Yeah.
Zach had the first motherfucking cell phone, like before Nino Brown had the phone. Zach Morris had the motherfucking cell phone. The big joint.
That giant brick.
Yeah, as you get older, you always think to yourself, like, who was this nigga calling on that big ass phone? Like, who was just at home? Because nobody else had a cell phone.
It was businesses when he was, doing his little hustles in school and shit.
Man,
we watched him use the phone. Why are you asking?
Who was he calling though?
I'm telling you, when he had like the call into the radio station, they used the phone.
Yeah.
So he was calling in the landlines.
I like how he wore. Zach wore like jackets and blazers with the sleeves rolled up. I'm like, why are you wearing it then?
Good. He was good, but to me, Screech was the best dressed on the show. Followed second by Lisa Turtle because she was a rich bitch. I love the fact that Lisa Turtle was black, but both her parents were surgeons.
Yeah.
And like when they had like the one where they were in Hawaii and they had to work, she was the only one that did not have to have a job.
Yeah.
She was the only one that had her own little beach house. They had to go stay with her.
So how the fuck is Screech number 1 on your list?
For best dress?
But you praising everything about Lisa?
Because she was the only black.
Well, don't her number 1 me.
But she wasn't the best dressed on the show.
It don't matter.
Screech
Go ahead,
was the
number
best
1.
dressed. I actually was gonna get there until you cut me off. So, I can finish.
Go ahead.
If you ever have watched the show, it takes 5 attempts for me to keep going.
You want to watch it 8 times all the way through?
I did.
You might watch the Hawaii season too.
You didn't watch Hawaii season? I was just talking about it.
Garbage.
Right.
It was
Hawaii.
It had Leah Remini. What's her name? I can't never say her name. Leah something on it.
She played the wife on King Queens, right?
Yeah, she played the wife.
She played the wife on King Queens.
That was the beach season. The Hawaii one. Oh, when they went to visit Jessica's dad.
I think they had like a whole.
They had a whole season in Hawaii.
Yeah, a whole season.
Yeah, when they were at the hotel.
Yeah.
And then right from that was like they had just.
That's around when Zach Morris started juicing.
No, they just grew up.
Nigga.
I wonder how old they were by the time they got to that point.
Screech said a lot of crazy shit, but Screech did not lie. Look at Zach Morris's neck as those seasons went. Your neck just don't get that big. As like his neck was getting bigger than his body was. I'm like, back when he been hitting the gym, he was better. He was looking bigger than what's his name, AC Slater.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, AC Slater falling up.
I just thought he got older because they were like in middle school when all of this started. So by the time they were like season 6, they were 20 some years old.
When you see a big neck nigga walking around, you understand he has some performance enhancing drugs in him. Don't get that guy.
But they didn't even hit puberty yet, is what I'm also trying to say. Like, we don't know what they were going to end up. Well, because like Jessica, she was tall as shit from like day 1. And then everybody just kind of caught up to her.
Y'all seen the new show?
No. And
I will not be
watching it.
No, I haven't seen it either. I haven't seen it either.
I am not watching it.
The only show I want to support this came back as the Wonder Years because it's all black.
Yeah.
It's all black
support it, but I ain't watched it yet.
I just know I'm not going to get into it. It's like, I'm
turn
glad
on
it
Let It Play so it
exists.
gets the views.
Yeah. I'm glad it exists. But you know what? I might do that and end up actually really liking it. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know.
It's like shows like that and what is it? The Raising Dion show. Like, I'm glad those things exist. It's just, and I tried watching Raising Dion. It's about the boy when he has his little superpower.
I've seen a trailer.
Yeah, I watched some of season 1.
Yeah,
and it looks like it's great. And that's okay. Like, it's okay for things to be great, and I don't have to like it.
Right.
I'm surprised Michael B. Jordan was in that.
And what?
And Raising
I didn't know that.
You know he was in that?
I said I didn't watch all of it.
Oh.
Thanks for that spoiler.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, but Saved by the Bell, I didn't actually watch it when so I watched it when I was older. So I watched it in syndication. I think TBS played it. It was before school. I want to say it was like high school. Like TBS would play like 2 episodes at like 7 a.m. and 7:30 before I went to school. And this was like, I don't even remember because this was after the show had aired. Because I didn't watch it when it aired. Because
that was in like what, 2003?
No, it was later.
2006.
Anyways,
2008. You want me?
Anyways, I'm gonna keep talking, but Saved by the Bell. There was like a stretch where I watched the episodes, but like I tuned out, like because I hate how they like. I hate how they like change. And this is with sitcoms, not just Saved by the Bell, but just in general. Just like like that '70s show when Topher Grace, who played Eric Foreman, when he left. And then they brought in this other weird dude that nobody liked, including me. Like Saved by the Bell, kind of the same.
Because of how they introduced them.
But see that. Yeah, I think a lot of it is because I went through that with Saved by the Bell when they switched around cast members. Just like when you start a show and when you build an audience, like the audience becomes emotionally connected to that audience so much so that when you make a big change, like, oh, we're gonna bring in this girl now to Saved by the Bell, we're gonna take out blah blah blah. Like the audience is just like, what are you doing? This is not the show that I started watching such and such years ago. Yeah. So I mean, I get that they have to do that for contractual things, like maybe somebody's contract is
he just didn't want to do it no more.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Well, it could have been
on that '70s show. He just didn't want to do it.
Topher Grace was just like, screw you guys. I want to go and move because he wanted to be. He was in Spider-Man 3. Yeah, he was in Spider-Man 3.
He wanted more time to do more stuff. And what really pulled away from that '70s show was his character was the one that connected the audience.
He was the protagonist. And the show was really centered around him and his family.
Because like, everybody's like, yo, what?
Because how are you going to have Kitty in red without Eric?
It was just
But
weird.
But Saved by the Bell, it wasn't my favorite show growing up, but I did watch it with a stretch, and I do have nostalgic feelings.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite either, but I really
it was a good show.
The show.
It was a good show. Yeah, it was definitely a good show.
And for what it was, and what's crazy is like that was the show that I saw that gave information about high school. Yeah. So, well, not it was exactly how high school, but now what you have is shows like freaking Euphoria.
That show. Okay, here's the thing. Saved by the Bell, like what I like about Saved by the Bell is that, at least in terms of like lighthearted Saturday morning cartoons, because I think it aired on Saturday mornings in its initial run. I think it originally aired on Saturday mornings. I'm pretty sure, like from what I'm reading up, that show was not afraid of when they got older. They went to some dark places. Like when Jesse got addicted to those pills and drugs and all that, and
caffeine
like,
pills.
Caffeine pills. Yeah, they couldn't do for real drugs, even though high school.
Caffeine pills.
But like, I think what I like about that, I like shows that are like family friendly or like okay for kids to watch, but at the same, they're not afraid to push the bar and teach kids some things about the world that like they need. I
mean, it's not like they had a choice at that time.
Yeah.
Like the rules were different at that time. Like a show like Euphoria would not have aired.
Euphoria's
for us to be able to watch like Saved by the Bell like it never would have happened. It wouldn't even have been on because those kids are supposed to be like teenagers.
Yeah, but like I feel like that's an apples to oranges comparison because Euphoria is for mature audiences, whereas Saved by the Bell is a kid-friendly show.
But they're both in high school. That's what I was saying. Like Euphoria wouldn't even, the show itself wouldn't exist because these kids are supposed to be in high school.
Oh yeah.
They wouldn't be like, yo, y'all can't show
in the 90s.
Yeah,
in the 90s, you couldn't do a high school show
but
like
now
Euphoria.
What you see as far as what people are getting is what's going on in high school now is Euphoria. For us, we saw freaking, and then in the 70s or whatever, it was the movie Grease. So that was their connection to what was going on in high school. Or you had the other scary side of something like Carrie. Yeah. But all these things exist.
Or good times.
Good for high school?
Yeah, they was in high school.
It wasn't a high school setting though. That was a project building setting.
You remember when Lil Dude came? They was in the game. Tried to beat Michael's ass.
Oh, when they, yeah, you're talking about because one of the kids, I remember a scene. It was like the end of the episode. And he was fighting these gang members. I forget the kid's name. Yeah.
So I was a little dude in the gang and shit. You know what I'm thinking? Like, it's always got a weird fucking trade off with TV because y'all talking about what they couldn't show about little kids or high school kids back in the night. I'm thinking to myself, my mama watches Archie Bunker, and this nigga was a white dude saying the word nigga on TV, and I'm like, at what point
but he
was this
wasn't
cool?
in high school.
I mean, yeah,
that's what I was saying. Like, what things that like targeted kids? Because honestly, Euphoria targets. I mean, the age group of like maybe 16 and 17.
But if you go censor.
Yeah, but we censor now. Well, shit.
So man, you can. So they didn't want to show the dark side of high school kids back then, but a grown man can say the word nigga and spick and all these other racial terms. And they was spewing them out.
Yeah, like, I mean, you also had the Jeffersons existed not after, but around the same time.
Yeah.
So now we got a trade off. So now you can't say nigger, spick, or nothing else like that on TV.
Yeah, you can.
Show the. You think that they let a white man?
You ain't watching.
A white dude say it? A white dude say it?
Yeah, see, here's the thing. When it comes to stuff like that, it also depends on how you make that creation happen. If you're watching a show, one, also what the ratings are, certain shit ain't gonna get canceled. We saw what happened with Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle didn't get... You just answered your own question. Don't nobody get canceled.
I didn't have a question.
Okay, you just came to your own conclusion of the statement.
What about
don't nobody get canceled? Yeah, you were saying can't nobody say it no more, and I was like, yeah, they can, because don't nobody get canceled.
I don't think they had no Archie Bunker show.
They will.
I'm sorry,
it just hasn't happened yet.
As soon as Archie Bunker say something, somebody gonna be offended. They gonna cancel that shit quick.
The ratings are gonna go up because everyone's gonna tune in to find out what the heck is this show about. And if you've done it properly, and if it's a good show or movie or whatever it is, and people really like it, if it's funny or if it's comedic or for whatever it's supposed to be, congratulations.
It's just gonna get canceled.
No such thing as bad publicity.
They're gonna get canceled.
I kind of agree with him on this.
And because you know what they did cancel it everybody like.
Matter of fact, that happened with Dave Chappelle. Listen, that's exactly what happened. Nobody cared about the Dave Chappelle show or series, and then his ratings went up. Why? Because people got offended.
His ratings went up as far as what?
People watching his series because people got offended. What was
the old series, the reruns of the series?
Chappelle? You talking about Chappelle?
The last Chappelle, no.
You talking about the series?
His comedy stand-up.
Oh, his stand-up.
No, everybody watched that.
Yeah. Nobody was watching it until they found out that he was having what he was saying on there when he was talking about the LGBTQ community. And then all of a sudden, everybody was like, "What's going on in Dave Chappelle comedy show?"
So
series.
while I agree to some extent with the point you're making, which is that people do hate watch things sometimes. Like they go into things knowing that they're going to personally get offended. I also believe that there is this kind of thing where it's like Twitter in particular, social media, but Twitter in particular, kind of dictates what a lot of these companies do right now because they feel like if a lot of people are complaining, like their view is, and this is completely independent of the Chappelle situation because Netflix stood by Dave Chappelle, but a lot of networks are kind of like, they're trying to cater to young people and they're trying to cater to this new changing audience. So like they look on, everyone's on Twitter. Like Twitter has become the water cooler conversation. You know how people at work would go around the water cooler talking about, did you see that show last night? Blah, blah, blah. That's what Twitter is now. So they have this access to it where they can look to Twitter and say, what are people saying about this show and this brand? So it's just like a lot of Twitter is complaining about things, frankly. I think a lot of these social media companies kind of know it's just like the longer they keep you on their platform, they don't care what kind of mental health effects that their platforms have on you. The longer they keep you on there, the more money that they can make off of you by selling your information to advertisers and whatever. So the thing with cancel culture, which is where Twitter resides primarily, it's just like companies see, they're offended by this or they're offended by that. Like companies are so desperate to please this new audience, this young audience, and this audience that's mobile and on social media now 24/7 that as soon as a bunch of people, it doesn't even have to be like a whole lot of people, but like a vocal minority complains about something on Twitter, they're quick to say, oh, let's cut the axe on this. It didn't happen with Chappelle, as we saw, because Netflix stood by him. He's still doing fine.
The most Twitter can do is cut the axe on your Twitter account. Though.
No.
I'm talking about your show.
I'm talking about people complaining about a show or something that an actor does, because it's. I do think that we're in this space where it's like Mel Brooks said, who said Blazing Saddles couldn't be made today, which frankly I agree with. But the problem, here's my problem with social media.
But
is this.
I love Blazing
I know,
Saddles.
but see that I do too. But that's the point I'm trying to make. They don't understand. A lot of people on social media, at least in my mind, don't understand the difference between the artist's intent and what the characters are trying to say. So if you look at Blazing Saddles is a very politically incorrect film. They say the N-word. They have a lot of racial jokes in there and blah blah blah. But if you watch it closely, which a lot of people on social media don't really seem to do, it's the biggest jokes in Blazing Saddles are against the racist white characters.
Yeah,
they're the biggest jokes. Like they're the targets of the biggest jokes. They're the biggest butt of the jokes or whatever.
My dad had me watch that as a kid.
And the black sheriff, he's basically a badass for the entire movie.
Yeah,
he's a badass.
Yeah, he
goes
off the whole movie.
Right. So like to All in the Family, the same thing. People listen to what Archie Bunker is saying, but they don't understand the artist's intent behind what Archie Bunker said. No one should aspire to be like Archie Bunker, because Archie Bunker is a racist asshole.
Facts.
But people watch it on the surface.
Archie had Lionel also. Lionel was there before George got there.
Yeah.
And he would be the same thing that the sheriff was on Blake.
Right.
He was same character.
But see, that's the thing. It's just like people look at on the surface like, oh, Archie Bunker's a racist. And people don't look deeper and say like, oh, like the artist is making fun of these dumb racist jerks who say stupid things. Like Archie Bunker is the
both
biggest.
Get made fun of though at the same time.
Yeah.
Because there be some things, them little hidden little jabs.
They can do it. They
all right,
they make
jabs
too. But that's 70s.
See, the beauty of it is, at least for the three of us sitting here, is that at least we can laugh at it.
Yeah.
At least we can find the humor because, and to an extent, there's an exaggeration of real life. It is. It's a heightened reality. There's an Archie Bunker somewhere always.
Maybe not as crazy as him, but they exist.
Crazier.
Or like maybe not crazier, yeah. But
crazier, I think, a little less crazy.
I think
Archie Bunker.
I think we're at a place now where it's just like social media makes things instantaneous, so people immediately react to things, so they can watch things like All in the Family or Blazing Saddles, and they immediately react. So they look at the surface level, saying like, "Oh, Archie Bunker said the N-word. I'm going to go on Twitter and complain about it." And it's just like they don't look at the subtext beneath it, where it's just like racism is wrong.
For real, he's more abusive to Edith.
Yeah,
like the shit he would say to her.
Because doesn't he make comments about women too? Yeah,
women also, but it's just how he treats her in general was really fucked up.
Yeah. He was.
Yeah, because that's something else. I told you I like the old shows more than the old movies. I rewatched that shit like, damn, Edith.
I think, and I think it's important to
like have no choice.
And to see the women of that facts though. No, it's not even what she looked like, which but the women of that time, that is a good point, because it's always the question of, how the marriages lasted longer then than they do now. And I would say that a lot, like, the options were different.
Right.
Back then, the options was definitely different for women than they are now.
Right.
So that's definitely a reason, because like I said, it's always an exaggeration of real life. There's an Edith out there somewhere too. And there's an Archie and an Edith.
There's plenty of
together.
Yeah.
Along with, what's her name? Gloria. What was the boyfriend or the husband rather? Because they ended up getting married. The son-in-law.
You talk about Rob Reiner's character?
Oh, how you gonna remember the real?
I remember his real Meathead or something like that.
Yeah, that's what Big Dummy. I think
something like that.
Yeah, Dang, we can't remember all that about him. And
No.
I watched a lot of the reruns. A lot. Because that was like the reruns that the grandparents and the parents.
Who was responsible for that? They had a hell of a run.
Oh,
I think Archie Bunker, then it was.
Oh yeah, they did. They were around for a while.
Sanford and the Jefferson.
Norman Lear produced all those shows. All in the Family was the big one. Jefferson's was a spin-off of All in the Family, and I think
Maude.
Yeah.
Shit.
Maude. Yeah.
Maude
but
too.
All in the Family was actually a remake of a British show that I can't remember the name of. And
I feel like I've heard that before.
Yeah, All in the Family is a remake of a British show. I don't remember. But yeah, Norman Lear produced all those shows, and yeah, he was he's still alive actually. He's in his 90s.
What's his name? Get away with all that shit. What's his name? He was British. He used to chase the girls.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
What the fuck was his name?
I don't remember. That's not.
Every episode, they play that little goofy ass music.
Oh, the music. Oh, yeah. Shoot.
Benny Hill.
Yeah.
Benny Hill.
That's exactly what that is.
Yeah.
Benny Hill. My God. My dad would have me watch stuff that, I don't know, my mom would.
Yeah. I think
your dad don't watch the show because he gonna be like, "Can you shut up?"
Oh, listen. Where would they find each other? They don't. Them talk here, right?
But yeah, they put a lot of crazy stuff on back in the day. Like I remember Married with Children. I didn't watch it during its original run, but I watched it when it was on syndication like a few years back, and I was like, "Woo,
that would have got
crazy." You couldn't do that.
I love that.
You couldn't do that today. That show was crazy.
For me, and it's like I just feel like when it's done well, if it's done good, of course, Married with Children wouldn't work now as a sitcom of being what it was, or it might if it never happened before. See, that's
so
the
you
thing.
Talk about Marcy.
If it's missing,
yep.
Because he said she was a lesbian. She
said she made jokes about her being flat chested, made all crazy type of jokes.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, the women would have been on there like, nah.
Because I've heard these kind of jokes on other shows. It's just with these shows we're talking about now, those kind of things was like the main focus of the show's storyline, even. Yeah. Because they had like the yes ma'am thing. So maybe that's why in my mind I'm like they would still exist because I've heard the jokes that I've heard from Married with Children and those things on other shows, but that wasn't like the main focus of the show to be that. But at the same time, a show like Shameless exists.
I haven't seen Shameless.
Y'all haven't seen Shameless. So y'all don't even understand that there is a show that has all of these things.
I don't know.
And it was on for a long time, and there was the white guy.
Isn't Shameless
saying
ending?
All these things?
Hasn't Shameless ended, or isn't it ending?
It might be, but it's been on for like 7 years though. It was actually a really good show. What happened? The main character left the show.
I don't know, man.
So then the show changed, but they had all that shit on there.
I don't know. I might have
y'all never even watched it.
I might have to check this out. I don't know.
While I'm sitting here saying so it's
married.
Happen.
So it's Married with Children, crazy, like politically incorrect.
Yes, but it's always the thing of reality focus. Okay. So here you have this thing, and it's happened in Chicago. You actually would love that show because before COVID also had an impact on the show, and they were transitioning from the main character, but they go into the gentrification. They expose all that, how it's happening, what's going on, different perspective, white, black, and Hispanic. Yeah. I actually should watch that show. And we're going to wrap this show up too because we are definitely over.
I didn't know how long the show lasted, so I was just chilling here talking.
It was only supposed to be an hour.
Well, we had a delay because
No, I'm looking how long we've been filming.
Oh, how long has it been? Oh, okay.
Only 18 minutes. So
thank you again, our guest. We just had amazing conversation. I saw a few people coming out, and watching. So thank you for everyone that tuned in. Go ahead and tell everyone where to find you. If you have a release date.
Yeah. So at Soup TV, Soup with 2 P's, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That's pretty much where you can find me right now. And then I'll put in the link in my bio for all of those social media accounts. I'll put my YouTube channel if you guys want to check out the short films I've done. I've done 2 feature films, a bunch of short films. I've done a web series called The Motherland, which is about the city of Cleveland. It's an anthology series, so each episode is a different story about the lives of different working class Clevelanders. Season 2 is coming up soon. It's coming up in July. This lovely woman is going to be the star of one of the episodes. We shot something a few months back with one of my friends, so she'll be in it. So
you can say his name. It's okay.
Oh, my friend who helped us? Oh, yeah. So his name was Joe Kowalski. I didn't know you wanted it. His name is Joe Kowalski. Yeah, really close.
Was he with you for the whole project, or
he was with me for most of it, and then our friend Aaron. So they both kind of helped me film and record all the episodes. And sometimes Joe would help me. Sometimes Aaron helped me. Sometimes they both would help me.
So shout out to both of them. Yeah.
Aaron Winay, Joe Kowalski, my best friends right now, my filmmaking partners in crime. And that's coming out in July, so be on the lookout for that. And here and there, I release short films in between the big projects. And I'm looking to help out any other Northeast Ohio film or art people as well. So if you have a project coming up, feel free to reach out to me on social media. And thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, thanks for coming.
Yeah, appreciate it. So,
well,
I'm Maserati again because
I know. I was looking at the time like, oh my gosh, I kind of got stuck. Like, I can't believe we went over time so bad. If you're tuning in live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, just say fuck it. It's supposed to be Thursday, starting at 7 p.m. I'm looking better at that, I promise you. Be okay, Pepper Potts.
I'm Maserati, of course.
Why? Oh yeah, that's right. We have outro. Yeah, y'all can just keep waving for like a hot second.
I'm not about to keep waving.